All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling something that, well, might not sound like the most thrilling topic at first glance. We're talking credit card reconciliation.
Uh-oh. Sounds a little dry.
Yeah, matching up transactions, checking statements, not exactly the stuff of high-stakes thrillers, but stick with
Oh,
us.
this is going to be interesting. I can already tell.
Because we're looking at a system that actually brings some pretty cool tech to this whole process. Pantheon Odyssey's AIDA Credit Card Reconciliation. We've got some info here, and honestly, I'm kind of curious to see how it all works.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so from what I'm getting from these notes, AIDA is like this super organized assistant, right? It goes through and matches all your credit card transactions with your financial records.
Right.
The whole thing's supposed to reduce errors, save time, all that good stuff.
Makes sense. Automation's got to be a key here, right? Dealing with tons of transactions.
Exactly. And get this, it all runs through this Odyssey digital automation platform. So I'm guessing there's some serious AI happening behind the scenes.
Bingo. The Odyssey platform is the brains of the operation. It gives AIDA all the tools it needs to automate and analyze everything. And when it comes to credit card reconciliation, that means not just matching up numbers, but actually learning from them, right? Identifying patterns and flagging anything fishy.
So we're not just talking about simple calculations here. This thing is actually learning and getting smarter as it goes.
Yeah.
That's where the AI-powered anomaly detection comes in, right?
Yeah.
But, okay, walk me through this. How does it actually learn to tell the difference between a real purchase and something fraudulent?
All right, imagine you're teaching someone how to spot a fake bill, right? You'd point out the little details, the printing, the watermarks, all those things that give it away. Over time, they'd get a knack for it, start seeing those fakes from a mile away.
Okay, I'm following you.
Well, AIDA's machine learning algorithms work kind of like that. They're trained on huge sets of transaction data, learning to pick up on those subtle signs of fraud. It could be the amount, the place it's happening, the time of day, even the way a person usually spends.
Okay, that's a good analogy. I get it. But is this approach, perfect? Are there times when AIDA might get it wrong? Like flag a totally normal purchase as fraud or miss something shady?
That's a really good question. And honestly, like with any system, AIDA's not 100% foolproof. There's always that chance of a false positive or negative, but the system's constantly learning. It's refining those algorithms all the time. Plus, there's always room for humans to step in, review stuff, and make adjustments.
So it's more of a partnership then between AI and good old human intelligence.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Now, I remember you mentioned earlier that AIDA actually integrates with banks. What's the deal with that? How does that benefit the user?
Basically, it allows for real-time data exchange. Instead of waiting for those monthly statements to roll in, AIDA gets transaction data instantly. That way, it can spot problems and react way faster. And when you're talking about fraud, that speed is crucial.
Right, so it's like having this extra set of eyes constantly monitoring everything. Now, speaking of watchful eyes, our info mentions a ton of benefits. Less errors, easier audits, and of course that early fraud detection we've been talking about. What's the real game changer here, in your opinion?
Honestly, I'd say catching that fraud early is the biggest win. Think about how we usually find fraud. It's often after the fact, right? Someone reports something suspicious, or you're combing through statements when the damage is already done. With AIDA, you're shifting from reacting to actually preventing. And that can save businesses a ton of money and headaches.
Totally makes sense. Catching it early before a small problem snowballs into something huge. And it seems like AIDA can handle a lot. Not just fraud, but automating the whole reconciliation process. Even dealing with multiple currencies. A lifesaver for companies that work internationally.
Definitely a powerful tool.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. Thinking about your own work or even just managing your own money, do you see a place for this kind of tech in your life? I mean, it makes you wonder, if AI can do all this with financial data, what else could we use it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So many possibilities. Healthcare, maybe? Traffic management?
And that brings us to our final thought for everyone listening. If AI can revolutionize something as complex as credit card reconciliation, what other parts of our lives could it change in the coming years? Food for thought. As we explore all that artificial intelligence can do, it's a question worth keeping in mind.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been a fascinating deep dive.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time.